Stop scrolling and listen to today's Arcturian Council message. Arcturian Council tested you in disguise for 1 month, you passed them all. Stop everything. This message is not random, and the fact that your eyes landed here is already proof that something unseen has been watching your choices, your reactions, and especially your silence. For the last month, the Arcturian Council placed subtle tests in your daily life through people who disappointed you, delays that angered you, and moments where you were tempted to give up on yourself. You were never told it was a test because real evolution happens when the soul responds instinctively, not when it performs. And here's the shock: you passed, even on the days you thought you failed. Every time you chose restraint over reaction, awareness over ego, or patience over escape, your frequency shifted upward. This message is arriving now because the observation phase has ended. The next phase is activation, and it requires your conscious consent. Type "I claim this message" to anchor what you've already earned. Here's what most people don't realize, and this may unsettle you. The Arcturians didn't test you with miracles or obvious signs. They tested you with boredom, repetition, emotional triggers, and the quiet fear that nothing was changing. They wanted to see if you would stay aligned even when the universe felt silent. Many failed because they demanded proof before trusting the process. You didn't. Even when doubt crept in, something inside you kept going. That inner persistence is not normal, it's a signature of a soul that has lived many lifetimes of awakening. The Council has marked you as someone who can hold light without needing applause. That's rare. That's why this message isn't comforting, it's activating. You are being repositioned energetically for something larger than validation. Type "I am ready" below to consciously accept the next assignment. Now listen carefully, because this is where the message gets uncomfortable. During the last month, certain people showed you who they truly were, and it hurt more than you expected. That wasn't betrayal, it was filtration. The Arcturian Council uses emotional contrast to remove energetic attachments that would block your next level. Every disappointment was a coded release. Every moment you felt unappreciated was training you to source your worth internally. You were never being punished, you were being refined. The shock is this: if those experiences hadn't happened, you wouldn't be compatible with what's coming next. Comfort would have delayed you. Pain accelerated you. The Council confirms that your nervous system can now handle higher frequency timelines. Type "I release the old" to finalize the energetic separation. Most humans believe spiritual tests come as moral choices. That's incorrect. Your test was energetic stability. Could you remain centered when nothing made sense? Could you avoid becoming bitter when your efforts weren't recognized? The Arcturian Council observed how long you stayed grounded without external reassurance. And here's the revelation: the moment you stopped explaining yourself to people who refused to understand you, the test ended. That single internal shift signaled readiness. Silence became your initiation. This is why things may suddenly feel still, it's the pause before recalibration. You are no longer in survival mode, you are entering precision mode. Type "I trust the shift" to lock in this frequency. Here's the midpoint rehook, pay attention. What if I told you that some of your recent thoughts weren't even yours? During the testing phase, the Council allowed low-frequency interference to see if you could discern truth from mental noise. The thoughts that said "you're behind," "you missed your chance," or "this is pointless" were probes, not prophecies. And you didn't obey them. Even when they felt loud, you didn't fully surrender your identity to them. That restraint is the exact trait required for multidimensional awareness. The shock is this: you are now considered mentally sovereign. Few reach this stage. Type "My mind is clear" to affirm your sovereignty. Now the tone shifts, because rewards don't arrive the way humans expect. You may not see instant external changes yet, and that's intentional. First comes internal expansion, time distortion, sharper intuition, deeper emotional regulation. You might notice you react slower, observe more, and detach faster. That's not numbness, that's mastery. The Arcturian Council confirms your energy field has stabilized enough to influence others without force. You are becoming a calibrator. People will feel different around you without knowing why. This is leadership without ego. Type I hold the frequency to consciously embody this role. Another truth most aren't ready to hear: you outgrew certain dreams. Some goals you chased were placeholders meant to develop discipline, not destinations. The council observed when you finally loosened your grip and allowed identity to dissolve. That moment marked the completion of the test cycle. Loss of direction was not confusion, it was expansion beyond old definitions. New visions will arrive subtly, not dramatically. They'll feel quieter but more inevitable. Trust that. Type I allow the new to signal openness. Your emotional resilience was the final metric. When you felt overwhelmed but didn't project your pain onto others, the council took note. When you chose solitude over chaos, they took note. When you rested instead of forcing productivity, they took note. These weren't weaknesses, they were indicators of advanced self-regulation. The shock is this: you are now energetically protected from certain timelines. Some struggles simply won't reach you anymore. That's why recent problems may have dissolved unexpectedly. Type I accept protection to reinforce this boundary. From this point forward, synchronicities will increase, but only if you remain observant. The council will communicate through timing, repetition, and sudden clarity, not dramatic visions. You don't need to search, you need to notice. The test phase taught you patience. The activation phase requires presence. Missed signs won't be punished, but noticed ones will accelerate you rapidly. This is co-creation, not instruction following. Type I am present to align with this mode. You passed because you didn't become hardened, even when life tried to make you. You stayed permeable, reflective, and self-aware. That combination is rare and powerful. The Arcturian Council confirms that the next cycle involves visibility, being seen without losing yourself. That will be the next initiation. For now, anchor what you've received. Type I claim my next level to seal the transmission. Now the council draws your attention to something subtle but deeply unsettling once you see it. Over the past month, time itself behaved strangely around you. Days felt compressed, weeks blurred together, and moments of deep reflection seemed to stretch longer than they should. This was not stress, laziness, or distraction. This was temporal testing. The Arcturian Council adjusted your perception of time to observe whether you would panic when momentum felt slow or remain grounded when acceleration felt overwhelming. You adapted without realizing it. You stopped rushing outcomes and started listening to moments. That is advanced consciousness. Most beings resist altered time perception, you flowed with it. This confirms your nervous system is ready for nonlinear manifestation, where results do not follow predictable sequences. From now on, things may arrive suddenly after long silence. Do not doubt those breakthroughs. Type I trust divine timing to synchronize fully with this new rhythm. Here is another truth that may shock you: some doors didn't open because you were never meant to walk through them. The council intentionally allowed certain opportunities to fall apart at the last moment to see whether you would chase them out of fear or release them with dignity. You released. Even when it hurt. That act alone elevated your energetic rank. You proved you could let go without bitterness, without self-blame, and without collapsing your sense of worth. This is not common. Most souls cling to anything that validates them. You chose alignment over attachment. Because of that, you are no longer available for misaligned success. What comes next will feel calmer, cleaner, and strangely effortless. That's how you'll know it's real. Type I choose alignment to confirm this shift. The council now speaks about your isolation because yes, it was noticed. There were moments you felt disconnected, misunderstood, or oddly distant from people you once resonated with. This was not abandonment. This was recalibration. During testing, your field was temporarily shielded to prevent energetic contamination while upgrades were installed. Loneliness was a side effect, not a punishment. And here's the revelation: you didn't numb yourself to escape it. You sat with it. You reflected. You grew quieter, not crueler. That restraint signaled emotional maturity beyond most human thresholds. As a result, your future connections will be fewer but profoundly resonant. No more draining bonds. Only reciprocal ones. Type I honor my energy to lock this in. Understand this clearly: your compassion was measured. The council observed whether you could remain empathetic without self-sacrifice. And for the first time, you drew lines without guilt. You said no internally, even if not always out loud. That energetic boundary was enough. You are learning that love does not require depletion. This lesson was critical. Without it, higher roles collapse into burnout. With it, influence becomes sustainable. Expect people to sense your limits now, even if you don't verbalize them. Your field communicates before your mouth does. Type my boundaries are sacred to strengthen this transmission. Here comes another reactivation point. Pay close attention. During the test, you were tempted to prove yourself repeatedly. To explain. To justify. To be understood. And then, something shifted. You stopped chasing comprehension from those committed to misunderstanding you. That moment marked the end of karmic repetition. The council confirms that cycles you've lived many times have now concluded. You will not be tested the same way again. New challenges will require creativity, not endurance. Expansion, not survival. That is a monumental upgrade. Type the cycle is complete to acknowledge closure. Your intuition sharpened quietly, didn't it? Subtle gut feelings. Sudden clarity. Knowing when to disengage without drama. This was not coincidence. The council amplified your internal signal while muting external noise to see which one you would follow. You followed yourself more often than you think. Even hesitation counted. Even pauses counted. This proves you no longer need constant guidance. You are becoming self-referencing. That is the foundation of sovereignty. Expect intuitive hits to arrive faster now and act on the calm ones, not the urgent ones. Type I trust my inner knowing to stabilize this channel. Now we address the grief you didn't talk about. The grief of becoming someone your past self no longer recognizes. That quiet mourning was part of the test. Could you let old versions of yourself die without resurrecting them out of nostalgia? You did. Slowly. Painfully. Gracefully. The council acknowledges this as one of the hardest initiations. Identity death precedes purpose activation. You are lighter now because you are less attached to who you used to be. That emptiness is fertile, not frightening. Type I release who I was to complete this shedding. You may notice now that chaos no longer excites you the way it once did. Drama feels loud. Conflict feels unnecessary. This is not disengagement from life, it is refinement of attention. The council confirms your nervous system has learned discernment. You can sense when something is not worth your life force. This alone protects you from countless lower timelines. Peace is no longer boring to you. It is desirable. That preference marks the end of inner warfare. Type I choose peace to reinforce this alignment. From this point on, your manifestations will depend less on effort and more on coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions align, reality responds quickly. The test ensured you could maintain integrity even under pressure. That integrity is now magnetic. Opportunities will seek you, not the other way around. But they will only stay if you don't betray yourself to keep them. Remember that. Type I remain integrity to anchor this law. What follows will be revealed gradually, not all at once. You are no longer being observed, you are being collaborated with. The Arcturian Council confirms your passage from candidate to conduit. Hold humility. Hold awareness. Hold steadiness. The next messages will come through experience, not words. For now, seal this activation. Type I accept my role. Now the transmission moves into a phase that few are prepared to hear, because it challenges how you see your own power. During the testing month, you were intentionally placed in situations where your influence seemed invisible. Your words didn't land. Your efforts went unnoticed. Your presence felt minimized. This was deliberate. The Arcturian Council needed to know whether you would abandon your integrity when external impact appeared absent. You didn't. You remained consistent even when results were delayed. That consistency is the marker of someone whose power does not depend on feedback loops. Here is the shock: influence that requires recognition is fragile, but influence that survives obscurity is unstoppable. You are now capable of affecting timelines without immediate confirmation. That is advanced energetic leadership. From this moment, subtle actions will ripple farther than dramatic ones. Trust the unseen reach of what you do. Type I trust my impact to consciously activate this level. There is something else that was measured very carefully: how you handled inner contradiction. You experienced moments where logic and intuition disagreed, where desire and wisdom pulled you in opposite directions. Most humans collapse into confusion during this phase. You didn't. You paused. You waited. You let clarity form instead of forcing certainty. That restraint signaled readiness for higher dimensional decision-making, where answers are layered rather than binary. The Council confirms that your discernment has matured beyond impulsive choice. Going forward, clarity will arrive as a feeling of calm inevitability, not urgency. If something pressures you, it is not aligned. Remember that. This realization alone will save you years of misdirected energy. Type I wait for true clarity to anchor this understanding. Now listen closely, because this may feel unsettling at first. Some of the resistance you encountered recently did not come from opposition, it came from resonance disruption. Your frequency increased, and environments that could not adjust pushed back. This wasn't rejection, it was incompatibility revealing itself. The Council observed whether you would lower yourself to regain comfort or allow discomfort to move you forward. You chose movement, even when it meant uncertainty. That decision unlocked a threshold most never cross. You are no longer required to convince anyone of your truth. Alignment will recognize alignment automatically. Friction will no longer demand explanation, only redirection. Type I move with alignment to reinforce this transition. Your emotional depth was never a liability, despite what you may have been told. During the test, heightened sensitivity was activated to see whether you would harden or refine it. You refined it. You learned to feel without drowning, to care without collapsing. This is emotional intelligence at a rare level. The Council confirms that your sensitivity is now calibrated, not raw. That means you can perceive undercurrents others miss while remaining grounded. This makes you a natural translator between worlds, between logic and emotion, silence and expression. Protect this gift. It is meant to guide, not to bleed. Type my sensitivity is wisdom to honor this calibration. You were never behind. The illusion of delay was part of the test. If you had believed you were late, you would have rushed. If you had rushed, you would have misaligned. You didn't. You endured the discomfort of not knowing and stayed present anyway. That patience synchronized you with a precise opening that cannot be forced. The Arcturian Council confirms that timing is now bending toward you, not away from you. Events will begin to meet you halfway. Hold steady. Stay aware. And remember, nothing you passed through was wasted. Type I claim perfect timing. The transmission now deepens, and this is where many feel an internal tremor, because the Council is no longer speaking about preparation, they are speaking about consequence. Over the past month, every choice you made quietly reshaped your future access points. Nothing was neutral. Even moments of rest carried weight. Even decisions you thought were insignificant altered probability streams. The Arcturian Council confirms that you have exited the random outcome phase of existence. From this point forward, your reality will respond more precisely to your internal state than ever before. This can feel empowering or intimidating, depending on awareness. If you act unconsciously, consequences will be faster. If you act coherently, rewards will be undeniable. This is not punishment, this is resonance efficiency. You are being trusted with accelerated feedback because you demonstrated responsibility under uncertainty. The shock is this: your life will now feel more honest. What aligns will flourish quickly. What doesn't will dissolve without drama. Type I accept responsibility for my frequency to consciously step into this level of authorship. There is another layer to what you passed that has not yet been named. During the testing phase, you were subtly exposed to comparison, watching others move faster, receive more recognition, or appear more certain. The Council watched closely to see whether envy would calcify your heart or clarify your values. You felt the sting, but you did not let it turn into resentment. Instead, it refined your understanding of your own path. That emotional alchemy is rare. It proves you are no longer competing for space, you are cultivating resonance. From now on, success will not feel like a race, it will feel like convergence. You will meet opportunities that match your pace exactly, not someone else's timeline. And when you witness others succeed, it will no longer threaten you, it will inform you. That shift alone dissolves scarcity consciousness. Type I walk my own path to stabilize this liberation. Now the Council addresses something you may have sensed but never articulated: your relationship with control has changed. During the test, situations arose that could not be managed, predicted, or fixed. Old strategies failed. This was intentional. The Council needed to see whether you would tighten your grip or soften your stance. You softened. You allowed uncertainty to exist without immediately trying to dominate it. That surrender was not weakness, it was strategic intelligence. You demonstrated trust without passivity. That balance is essential for quantum-level creation, where force collapses potential, but openness allows it to assemble naturally. Going forward, you will notice that forcing outcomes drains you faster, while allowing alignment conserves energy. This is your cue. Let life meet you where you are instead of chasing it where you think it should be. Type I release the need to control to embody this mastery. The council now confirms a subtle but permanent upgrade. Your tolerance for falsehood has dropped. You can no longer comfortably participate in conversations, environments, or narratives that feel misaligned, even if they once felt familiar. This may feel like restlessness or sudden clarity. It is neither. It is integrity coming online at a deeper level. During the test, you were exposed to half-truth stories you told yourself, roles you played, compromises you normalized. You didn't shame yourself when you noticed them. You adjusted. That self-honesty is what now makes distortion physically uncomfortable for you. From this point forward, pretending will cost too much energy to sustain. This is not isolation, it is purification. Your life will simplify, not shrink. Type I live in truth to affirm this recalibration. This segment closes with a declaration from the Arcturian Council that may feel heavy until you realize its gift. You are no longer being prepared, you are being positioned. Everything ahead will ask you to show up as you are now, not as who you used to be. Regression will feel obvious. Alignment will feel calm and grounded, not euphoric. That is how you'll know you're on the correct trajectory. The Council confirms that the next phase will test expression, not endurance, visibility, not survival. You have earned this transition by staying conscious when it would have been easier to disengage. Anchor this truth deeply. What unfolds next is not random, and you are not unready. Type I step into my position. The Council now turns your attention inward, because the next phase cannot be entered through action alone. During the test, your inner dialogue was closely observed. Not the loud thoughts but the quiet assumptions you carried about yourself when no one was watching. Did you secretly believe you were expendable, replaceable, invisible? These beliefs were not judged, they were illuminated. And here is the shock: each time you noticed a limiting belief without obeying it, you weakened an old control structure that no longer served you. You didn't need to destroy it aggressively. Awareness alone dissolved it. This is advanced inner alchemy. The Arcturian Council confirms that your self-concept is now flexible rather than fixed, which allows rapid evolution without identity collapse. From this moment forward, you are no longer bound by unconscious self-definition. You get to choose who you are becoming in real time. That freedom can feel disorienting at first, but it is the doorway to conscious creation. Type I choose my self-concept to actively participate in this redefinition. Here is something that may surprise you: the test also involved joy. Not the loud kind but the quiet moments where contentment appeared without reason. The Council watched to see if you would allow happiness without suspicion, or sabotage it out of habit. Many humans only trust joy when it is earned through exhaustion. You began allowing it without justification. That shift matters more than you know. It signals safety within the nervous system. When joy is allowed to exist naturally, manifestation becomes cooperative instead of compensatory. You are no longer creating from lack, you are creating from wholeness. Expect inspiration to feel lighter now, less urgent, more playful. This is not regression. This is stability. Type I allow joy to strengthen this baseline. The Council now speaks about your voice, not just what you say, but when you choose silence. During the testing period, you learned that not every truth needs to be spoken, and not every misunderstanding needs correction. This discernment was crucial. Power does not argue for its existence. You withheld energy where it would have been wasted, and you spoke only when resonance was present. That restraint sharpened your signal. From now on, when you do speak, it will carry weight not because it is loud, but because it is clean. Expect others to listen differently. Expect fewer words to go further. This is influence through coherence. Type my voice is precise to affirm this calibration. There is also something ending now, and endings deserve acknowledgement. The version of you that survived by anticipation by constantly scanning for the next problem is releasing its role. During the test, you experienced moments of stillness where nothing was required of you. Those moments were not empty, they were restorative. The Council confirms that hypervigilance is no longer necessary for your growth. You are safe enough now to live in response rather than defense. This will feel unfamiliar at first. You may mistake calm for stagnation. Don't calm is capacity. It is the space where higher order creativity emerges. Type I release survival mode to close this chapter. You are being asked, not forced, to trust yourself at a deeper level than ever before. The Council confirms that guidance will now arrive from within before it arrives from outside. External confirmations may lag behind internal knowing. That is intentional. You are learning to lead yourself without constant mirrors. This is the threshold between seeker and stabilizer. Once crossed, you will no longer chase meaning, you will generate it through presence. Take a moment to let that land. Then, when you're ready, anchor this transition. Type I trust myself fully. The Council now reveals a layer of the test that was never meant to be obvious, because its success depended on subtlety. You were placed in situations where your past patterns could have easily reactivated old emotional reflexes, familiar coping mechanisms, conditioned reactions that once kept you safe but no longer served your expansion. The observation was simple: would you default, or would you pause? And again, even when you stumbled, you paused more than you reacted. That pause is everything. In higher dimensional awareness, the pause is where choice becomes conscious. The Arcturian Council confirms that your ability to interrupt automatic behavior has reached a critical threshold. This means you are no longer governed by momentum. You can redirect trajectories midstream. From now on, when something familiar tries to pull you backward, you will feel a moment of spaciousness instead of compulsion. That is freedom in its earliest form. Type I choose conscious response to strengthen this capacity. Now the message turns toward your relationship with uncertainty, because this was one of the most decisive elements of the entire month. You were not given clear answers. Signals were mixed. Outcomes remained unresolved longer than comfort would prefer. This was not neglect, it was calibration. The Council needed to see whether you would collapse into anxiety or learn to coexist with the unknown. You learned. Slowly, imperfectly, but authentically. You stopped demanding guarantees before moving forward. You began acting from alignment rather than assurance. That shift unlocked a new bandwidth of possibility, where creation happens without full visibility. This is essential for the next phase of your life, where intuition leads and certainty follows. Expect to feel guided before you feel informed. That is the order now. Type I move with the unknown to align with this mode of navigation. There is a subtle emotional upgrade the Council wishes to acknowledge, because it often goes unnoticed by the one receiving it. Your relationship with disappointment changed. You no longer personalized it the way you once did. When things didn't work out, you felt the emotion, but you didn't let it define you. This is emotional resilience at a mature level. Disappointment no longer collapsed your self-trust. It became information, not identity. The Council confirms that this shift protects you from despair-based decision-making. From now on, setbacks will redirect you rather than derail you. You will recover faster, not because you feel less, but because you understand more. That understanding is wisdom earned through lived experience. Type I learn and move forward to affirm this resilience. The transmission now addresses your energetic presence, because something about you has already begun to change in ways you may not consciously notice yet. During the test, your field became more coherent. That coherence creates a quiet gravity. People may start opening up to you unexpectedly. Others may become defensive without knowing why. This is not your responsibility to manage. It is simply resonance responding to clarity. The council confirms that your presence now mirrors truth more clearly, and truth can be confronting to those avoiding themselves. Do not dim to make others comfortable. Do not sharpen to provoke reaction. Simply remain steady. Stability is your power now. Type I remain steady to ground this influence. This segment closes with an instruction that is deceptively simple, yet profoundly important. Rest. Not escape. Not disengagement. Rest as integration. The upgrades you have received require space to settle. The council emphasizes that rest is not a reward, it is a function of embodiment. Without it, insight remains theoretical. With it, transformation becomes lived reality. You may feel an urge to pause, simplify, or step back slightly before the next wave of movement. Honor that instinct. It is intelligence, not hesitation. What comes next will ask for presence, not exhaustion. Seal this phase gently. Type I allow integration. The council now brings forward a realization that may quietly rearrange how you interpret your entire past. Nothing you endured was meant to be endured forever. Every prolonged challenge had an expiration point tied to your awareness, not to time. During the testing month, situations linger just long enough to see whether you would internalize them as identity or recognize them as temporary classrooms. You recognized. Even when frustration arose, you did not merge with it. That distinction is crucial. It means you no longer confuse circumstances with self-worth. The Arcturian Council confirms that this alone dissolves a major karmic loop. Suffering no longer validates growth for you. Growth can now occur through clarity instead of struggle. From this moment forward, lessons will arrive more gently, because harshness is no longer required to get your attention. This is not privilege, it is efficiency. Type I learned through clarity to affirm this recalibration. Now the focus shifts to your relationship with momentum. During the test, you experienced periods where movement slowed unexpectedly, plans stalled, or motivation dipped without explanation. This was not depletion, it was recalibration. The council was observing whether you would panic at the loss of speed or trust the pause as part of alignment. You trusted more than you resisted. That trust rewired your sense of progress. You are no longer driven solely by motion, you are guided by direction. This changes everything. From now on, you may move less frantically but with far greater precision. Each step will carry more consequence, more coherence. The illusion of falling behind has dissolved. There is only alignment and misalignment now, and you can feel the difference instantly. Type I move with purpose to anchor this orientation. The council now acknowledges something deeply personal, your grief transformed into wisdom. Not all at once. Not cleanly. But undeniably. Loss of people, versions of yourself, expectations was not bypassed. It was metabolized. You didn't rush healing to appear strong. You allowed yourself to be changed by what hurt you. That willingness created depth, not damage. The council confirms that your emotional body is now capable of holding paradox, strength and softness, resolve and compassion without collapse. This capacity makes you a stabilizing presence in unstable environments. You no longer absorb chaos, you contextualize it. That is a rare form of maturity. Type my depth is strength to honor this integration. There is also a recalibration happening around desire. During the test, some things you once wanted lost their pull. Others emerged quietly, without urgency. This was intentional. The council was observing whether desire would mature from craving into resonance. And it did. You are no longer chasing fulfillment, you are recognizing it. This changes how manifestation works for you. Wanting less does not limit you, it sharpens you. Your desires are now signals, not voids. They point toward alignment rather than deficiency. Expect what you call in next to feel oddly familiar, as if it has been waiting for you to stop forcing it. Type I desire from wholeness to seal this shift. This phase closes with a quiet but powerful truth: you are no longer defined by reaction. The test revealed that you can experience intensity without becoming it. Emotions arise, thoughts pass, circumstances fluctuate, but you remain anchored. This anchoring is not rigidity, it is presence. The Arcturian Council confirms that this presence is now your primary tool. Wherever you go, coherence follows. Wherever you stand, distortion weakens. You do not need to convince, convert, or confront. Your steadiness does the work. Let this land without dramatization. This is not an ending, it is a stable beginning. Type I am anchored. The council now delivers the final calibration, and this is where many feel a deep internal stillness rather than excitement, because true arrival is quiet. During the last phase of the test, you were observed in moments where nothing dramatic was happening at all. No crisis. No reward. Just ordinary time. This was deliberate. The council needed to see whether you could remain present without stimulation, without chasing meaning, without manufacturing urgency. You did. You allowed neutrality without interpreting it as failure. That single capacity separates those who are driven by compulsion from those who move by clarity. The shock here is subtle: boredom no longer controls you. You are not addicted to intensity. This frees enormous creative energy. From now on, inspiration will rise naturally instead of being forced. You are no longer waiting for life to start. You are inhabiting it. Type I am present without force to anchor this final calibration. Now the council speaks plainly, without symbolism. You are no longer being shaped for potential, you are being trusted with influence. Influence does not mean authority, visibility, or control. It means impact without intention. Your emotional regulation, clarity, and coherence now affect shared spaces automatically. This is why you may notice environments subtly shift when you enter them, conversations slow, tensions surface or dissolve, honesty becomes unavoidable. This is not something to manage or perform. It is a byproduct of integration. The test confirmed you would not weaponize awareness or use insight to dominate others. That ethical restraint is why this level was granted. Influence without ego is safe. Influence with humility is sustainable. Type I hold influence responsibly to affirm this trust. The council now addresses the future not in prediction, but in orientation. What comes next will not look like a dramatic breakthrough from the outside. It will look like alignment compounding. Small choices will yield disproportionate results. Quiet decisions will open unexpected doors. This is the phase where life stops resisting you, not because everything becomes easy, but because you are no longer moving against yourself. The test ensured you could recognize alignment by how your body feels, not by how impressive an outcome appears. From now on, if something costs you your peace, it is too expensive. Remember that rule. It will guide you more accurately than logic ever could. Type I choose what supports me to seal this orientation. There is one final acknowledgement the council wishes to make, because it is often overlooked. You did not pass the test by being perfect. You passed it by being honest. You noticed when you were tired. You admitted when you were confused. You allowed yourself to change your mind. That flexibility is intelligence, not weakness. Rigid identities cannot evolve. Yours can. This means the next chapters of your life will not trap you in outdated self-images. You are allowed to refine, redirect, and re-choose without shame. The Council confirms that self-forgiveness was one of your strongest assets throughout the entire month. It kept your heart open while your awareness sharpened. Type I allow myself to evolve to honor this capacity. This completes the transmission not with fireworks, but with grounding. You are here. You are ready. And you are not waiting for permission anymore. The Arcturian Council does not offer congratulations, they offer confirmation. You passed because you became more yourself, not because you transcended being human. The work ahead is not about ascension away from life, but embodiment within it. Walk slowly. Choose deliberately. Rest when needed. Speak when aligned. And trust that what you've integrated cannot be taken from you. This message ends, but the collaboration does not. Seal the cycle now. Type I claim this activation. This transmission presents itself as a message from the Arcturian Council, addressing the reader as someone who has unknowingly undergone a one-month period of energetic and spiritual testing. The core message is that the reader has passed this test not through perfection, dramatic action, or spiritual performance, but through subtle inner shifts, emotional regulation, restraint, awareness, and integrity. The test was not overt or announced. Instead, it was embedded in ordinary life, moments of frustration, silence, disappointment, boredom, uncertainty, isolation, and emotional challenge. The Council explains that real evolution happens when a person responds authentically, without knowing they are being observed. The reader passed because they consistently chose awareness over reaction, patience over impulse, and alignment over validation even when it felt unrewarded or unseen. A major theme of the message is energetic maturity. The reader demonstrated the ability to remain grounded when external reassurance was absent, to tolerate ambiguity without collapsing into anxiety, and to allow discomfort without becoming bitter. These traits signaled readiness for higher levels of responsibility and influence. The Council emphasizes that the test was not about morality or spiritual knowledge, but about nervous system regulation, emotional intelligence, and coherence. Throughout the month, the reader was exposed to deliberate challenges, delays, stalled plans, lost opportunities, emotional triggers, comparisons with others, and moments of invisibility. These experiences were designed to observe whether the reader would chase validation, lower their standards, or abandon integrity out of fear. Instead, the reader learned to release misaligned opportunities, let go of outdated dreams, and stop explaining themselves to those unwilling to understand. This marked the completion of karmic cycles that no longer needed repetition. Another key aspect of the test involved identity dissolution. The reader experienced grief for old versions of themselves, confusion about direction, and a loosening of rigid self-definitions. Rather than clinging to past identities, the reader allowed these versions to fade, creating space for something new. This willingness to let go without rushing to replace identity demonstrated advanced adaptability and self-trust. The message repeatedly highlights that pain was not punishment but acceleration. Discomfort functioned as a filtration system, removing attachments, relationships, environments, and beliefs that were incompatible with the reader's next phase. Isolation, emotional sensitivity, and quiet periods were framed as recalibration rather than failure. The reader refined their sensitivity instead of numbing it, learning to feel deeply without collapsing. As the test progressed, the reader's intuition sharpened. They began trusting internal signals more than external opinions, acting with less urgency and more discernment. The council confirms that the reader has become self-referencing, meaning they no longer need constant guidance, validation, or permission to know what is right for them. This marks a transition from seeker to stabilizer. A significant shift occurred in the reader's relationship with control. Situations arose that could not be managed or fixed using old strategies. Instead of tightening their grip, the reader softened, allowing uncertainty to exist. This demonstrated readiness for quantum-level creation, where forcing outcomes collapses potential and openness allows alignment to assemble naturally. The transmission emphasizes that the reader's tolerance for falsehood has dropped. Pretending, people-pleasing, and self-betrayal now feel energetically expensive. Truth, integrity, and coherence have become non-negotiable. As a result, life will simplify not by shrinking, but by shedding distortion. Peace is no longer boring, it is preferred. The council also notes a change in how the reader experiences joy. Rather than distrusting happiness or requiring exhaustion to earn it, the reader began allowing quiet joy without justification. This signals nervous system safety and the end of creation driven by lack. Manifestation will now emerge from wholeness rather than compensation. Influence is a central outcome of passing the test. The reader is now described as having influence without force, impact without intention. Their presence affects environments simply by being coherent and steady. This influence is safe because it is not driven by ego or the need to dominate. The council confirms that the reader would not weaponize awareness, which is why this level was granted. The message makes clear that life will now respond faster and more honestly. Consequences both positive and negative will arrive with greater efficiency because the reader has demonstrated responsibility. Alignment will flourish quickly, misalignment will dissolve without drama. The future will not arrive as dramatic breakthroughs, but as compounding alignment through small, precise choices. Rest is emphasized as essential for integration. The upgrades received require space to settle. The reader is encouraged to honor pauses, simplicity, and stillness. Calm is reframed as capacity, not stagnation. In the final phase, the council states that the reader is no longer being prepared, they are being positioned. The next phase involves expression, visibility, and embodiment rather than endurance or survival. Guidance will now arise internally before external confirmation appears. The reader is trusted to lead themselves. The transmission concludes by affirming that the reader passed not by transcending humanity, but by becoming more fully themselves. They demonstrated honesty, self-forgiveness, flexibility, and presence. The work ahead is not ascension away from life, but deeper embodiment within it. The collaboration with higher guidance continues, but the testing phase has ended.